Hey, welcome to the Maybe You're Like Me podcast with me, Mike Burns. Listen, I know we're all more alike than we care to think. We've all got dreams, we've all got hopes, but sometimes we can feel a little alone trying to navigate in this crazy world we live in. So, this podcast is all about you, and it's all about me and how maybe we're a little more alike than we care to think. Welcome to Maybe You're Like Me. On today's episode, we are talking to Rachel Van Platting. Rachel is an amazing country music artist, and we talk about a little bit of everything. We talk about me being bad at Halloween, all the way up to what it means to stay motivated and creative if you're trying to live a creative lifestyle. I loved this conversation, and I think you will too, talking to our new friend, Rachel Van Platting. Rachel, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Maybe You're Like Me. This is so much fun. And let's get this party started, yes, okay?
Let's do it.
So we're a few months into Maybe You're Like Me, and it's been so fun getting to meet people a lot like you who are doing really cool things and kind of getting a peek behind the curtain, getting a peek behind the social filters and just figuring out who people are. And so thank you for being here first off.
Thanks for having me.
This is a lot of fun for me. So
Same.
All right. So for those people who may be living under a rock or haven't had the internet since 1992 or haven't heard of Spotify,
right?
Who is Rachel Van Platting? Give us the details.
Well, Rachel Van Platting goes by Rachel at home and goes by Van when she leaves the house to play music.
Okay.
I am a multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter. I coined a new genre this summer.
Fancy.
It's
What's
called
that?
Orange Blossom Country.
Okay.
I got tired of touring around all over the place and people thinking I was from Nashville or Texas.
Gotcha.
Anyway, that's like tangential. There's going to be a lot of that.
Bring the heat.
And so I'm an artist. That's what I do. It's my full-time gig. And we also have 4 kids at home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
4. That I've got 2 and like my hands are full. So
it's been a lot since 1, actually. It's been a lot.
How old are your kids now?
They are 12, 10, 8, and 6.
Okay.
So 3 girls and a boy.
Whoa.
Yes.
Little bud.
Yes.
Where's the boy in the mix?
He's the last one.
Oh, man. So God bless him.
Yes, he is. They're all very exciting people.
Yeah.
They really, really are. My husband and I both work from home and travel. And so it's like this kind of cool tension. It's never boring. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah. There's always something going on.
So are you slowly trying to turn your family into the Partridge Family?
No.
Not even slightly.
One of me is enough.
Okay. Sounds good.
But they're all like very music oriented. I mean, my husband like sings and dances in the kitchen.
Oh yeah.
And they all really respond to music.
Yeah.
My oldest plays ukulele.
Okay.
My second oldest has like a little electric guitar that she's been practicing a lot. So it's in there, but I'm not pushing that on them at all. It's a crazy life.
No Jackson 5 realness for you right now?
No, I am enough for me to manage. No thing. Actually, I could use a manager.
Okay. So. If that is you asking me to be your manager, I'll think about it.
Okay, cool. The pay is nothing.
Okay. Well, then you've already doubled my salary.
Great.
So that's fantastic.
Great.
Let's go ahead and put a pin in that because I have a hard time managing myself. So we'll get there. Okay. I believe in us. We're going to make this happen. Okay. So. All right. So you are a mom, a singer-songwriter, defying genres, just making things happen. Yeah. But here on the podcast, it's all about getting past the filters. Yeah. But if we're going to get past the filters, we got to start with the filters.
Sure.
So if somebody's just following you on Instagram or on Be Real, who are they going to see?
Okay. So my Instagram has all the music stuff on it. And anybody I'm working with. Now, if you watch my stories, that's like a little closer.
Okay.
Like you'll get some selfies in there. You'll get kid footage.
Okay.
In the stories. But my Instagram is, more geared toward that. My Facebook is like a mishmash of whatever that even is, right?
I'm pretty sure that's everyone's Facebooks at this point.
Yeah. So. And then my Twitter, there's more cussing on my Twitter for sure.
Okay.
So if you're here for that.
Yeah, if you're here for Twitter version of Van, this is maybe not the place for you.
Yeah, don't do that.
We're watching you. We got the bleeper on lock. We're ready to bleep you at any point.
Yeah. And the TikTok is semi-dead. So.
Well, sorry, TikTok. Have you done the savage dance on TikTok?
No, but I've seen it. You
got to give the people what they want.
I know. And the corn guy. That's the
corn
big
kid.
Corn kid.
Yeah, it's corn. It's a big lump of knobs. It's got the juice. Well, yeah, that's fantastic. So,
I don't even know.
All these youngsters on their TikToks. Let's be honest. I spend way too much time on TikTok. It's just a time suck. Like I could be there and then lost hours and not have known.
For sure. You don't know where you are anymore.
Yeah. I started and my face was clean shaven and then come back. Was that Rumpelstiltskin? No, Rumpelstiltskin. It's that classic novel.
Oh no.
If you're listening, please leave in the comments the name.
Rip Van Winkle.
Hey, if you're in the comments, go ahead and thank Rachel for remembering elementary literature for you because it just saved me. I would have stayed up till about 3 a.m. trying to figure it out. So thank you for saving us all. I had that mental
picture of the guy and like all the little people like tying him down, which is probably creepy. That was what was in my head. But I
was thinking of the Jack Black version of that. So,
right.
And you can't go wrong with the Jack Black version of anything. So, all right. So here on the podcast, we do things in a couple rounds. This first round is called the first date round. And I haven't been on a first date in a while.
Me either.
But it's good. On a first date, I think the best thing to do is ask questions, but not just ask questions, but ask the right questions.
Yeah.
And so here, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. These are more fun, more get to know you. So it's not crazy serious. So you don't need to have like a whole thesis written for any of these, but it's okay. All right. So we are getting close to Halloween time. It is spooky season officially. And so I just want to know, are you a Halloween person?
So here's the thing.
Bring the heat.
I am 100% in for Halloween now.
Okay.
But I grew up Southern Baptist.
Okay.
In the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
So Halloween was a no, but I know where this is going.
What you got?
So I have some pretty cool costumes in my history that aren't Halloween.
Okay. What you got?
So weirdly, our friend group in college, we started doing these costume parties just for fun. It wasn't like cosplay. It wasn't like, and not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a furries thing. None of that.
Nope.
But we would come up with like a random theme and you could dress up as anything in the theme for the party.
Okay.
So one theme was a Tim Burton. We did Tim Burton costumes.
Okay, that's fun.
And you could be any Tim Burton character. And so I was Lydia from Beetlejuice.
Okay.
And my husband was Beetlejuice.
That's
my friend Aaron was Edward Scissorhands. And we had to take his blades away, actually, late in the night because
he can't be trusted.
Yeah. And then we had other things. We had a Wes Anderson themed party.
Oh, that's fun.
And
who were you on that one?
Margot Tenenbaum.
Oh, good choice.
And it was really good, too, because my bandmate, Adam, looked a lot like Luke Wilson in the Richie stage.
Yeah.
And so we kind of paired up for the costume and we have some pretty priceless pictures.
I
bet.
Those
probably good ones.
Okay, so those are some good ones. Do you have any that like you just don't want to admit you ever did? They were horrible, real bad.
I feel like anytime we had like a school related something, it was always thrown together. Like I look back at pictures from like mismatched dances and stuff, and I'm like, I didn't even try. Like it's not even cool or funny or it was just like, ugh. So it's probably my bummer ones.
So you and I were actually kind of alike. Growing up, we weren't big trick-or-treaters.
Yeah.
We were always like, my parents worked at a church. And so we were at church on Halloween, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I didn't trick or treat ever, but kind of like you in college and after college, my friends threw like costume parties.
Yeah.
And like, not even for Halloween, just like it's
just for fun.
Yeah. It's Thursday. We're going to have a costume party.
Yeah.
And so my favorite thing was to do it the wrong way. And so my favorite one is probably my best and worst was my friend threw a pirate and princess party. And so I think it was a surprise party for a friend or something, but everybody showed up in pirate and princess stuff. And I don't know why, but I decided to go as a robot. And
perfect. So like off topic,
very
completely
much more of a space pirate than anything.
That's awesome.
All right. So we are both bad at Halloween. We'll get them next time.
Yeah.
Where does Halloween fall in the rankings of your favorite holidays?
I love it now.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids get really into dressing up, and we're not the parents who are really super crafty with those things. There's 4 of them.
Yeah.
So like for us to be crazy dedicated to 4 different costumes would just be ridiculous. Or I'm sure someone out there does it really well, but not me. But they'll pick like a theme sometimes. And sometimes it's a group theme. So like one year we did Peter Pan.
Oh, that's fun.
And I was Captain Hook.
Okay.
And that was actually one of my favorite costumes in recent history. My daughter was Peter Pan. She was really into it.
That's
and then they're all different, characters.
Did anybody have to be the crocodile?
She tried to talk Jack into doing it. And he was, what's Captain Hook's first mate? Why can't I think of it?
Smee?
Yeah, he was that. Which is silly. Yeah.
Now, are we talking classic Disney animated version or Robin Williams Hook version?
It was the Disney animated version, which is actually really not politically correct, like at all.
You can't win them all.
We watched that about a year ago, and I was like, for half the movie, like I can't believe this is here.
As Bob Dylan once said, the times they're a changing.
Yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. But the costumes were great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So another question for you. We both live in America. I've traveled a lot around a lot of the states. Are you a big traveler?
I am, not as much as I would like to be, but I am. Yeah,
for sure. All right. So in America, is there a landmark that you want to see in your life? And which one is it? Where you wanted to go?
Well, there's 2 places that I haven't been yet that I want to go. I've never been to Yellowstone, which seems ridiculous to me because I've been all around that area, but never there.
Okay.
To see like the geysers and just all that cool stuff. And then I've always wanted to go cliff jumping in the glacier lakes in Montana. Okay. But I've never done it yet.
That sounds intense.
Yeah, it probably would be. And Jack is like a hard no on that, which is why I haven't gotten to go yet. Just because I don't want to do it by myself, really. Jumping off a cliff by yourself seems like a bad idea.
I don't know. You never know. So I'm just piecing together things right now. Between you and your husband, are you the more thrill seeker and he's more risk adverse? Is that what I'm picking up on?
I don't know. It just depends on the situation. It's very specific. He hates heights. Okay. Like we're both big hikers. He does a lot of cycling.
That's cool.
Bouldering and stuff we're fine with. He just doesn't want to jump off of something and stare at a possible like death. He doesn't mind climbing up. It's just jumping off wouldn't be cool.
All right. So let's play a quick round of would your husband do this or not?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. Number 1, would he go skydiving?
No.
Would he go bungee jumping?
Absolutely not.
Would he go deep sea diving?
Yes.
Would he arm wrestle Hulk Hogan?
He'd think about it.
Okay. So it really does seem to be, what about hot air ballooning? Would he do that?
I think he'd do that.
Okay.
I think he'd do that.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Okay. I feel like me and your husband are a little bit similar. I don't mind heights completely, but I still wouldn't do bungee jumping.
Yeah.
I don't, that's like the one thing that I'm like, you just hear horror stories about that. So.
It's true. That's true.
Although there's some mornings like when I sleep wrong and my back hurts that I really think it'd be fun to bungee jump, like with my feet attached. And then it would just like
probably just fix some things,
fix all the alignment. That sounds fantastic. Yeah. So I'm just getting old.
Close your eyes and just let it happen.
So those places sound cool to go to too. I don't know if I like, if I was like egged into it, I think I would cliff dive too. Yeah. But I'm not positive. So let's just go ahead and say I would do it. That sounds good. Okay. As far as me goes, I've traveled a little bit, but as an adult, I've never seen the Grand Canyon. And
it's so gorgeous.
See, that's making me want to go more. I've had a couple of friends in the last few years that have gone to like all over that area. Yeah. And they've gotten to see the Grand Canyon and it just sounds so beautiful.
Yeah. And you used to be able to camp. I don't think you can camp in the caverns like right there anymore. But it used to be they would bring you down a whole group. You'd camp overnight. But I guess just, too much wear and tear on like one of the wonders of the world. They decide not to do it anymore.
It's made it a few years. I think it's going to be okay for now. Right. All right. So you are a musician, you're a songwriter, and you do these things. Like, what is your go-to car song?
This is hard for me. because it depends on my mood. So right now I'm really diving into some different sounds as inspiration for my next record. And so an album I keep coming back to is Tom Petty's Wildflowers album.
Yeah.
So any song off of that record is going to be popping on like right away.
Now, are you like in your car? Like, do people that are beside you in a neighboring car, do they think you're crazy? Like, are you belting it out the whole time?
If I'm playing my vocal warm-up playlist, absolutely. I look completely insane.
Yeah. Is it like the...
There's some of that. There's also like, there's some Brandy Carlisle in there. There's there's some exercises. And then there's all these different songs that I use to work different parts of my voice.
Sure.
And that looks weird in the car for sure.
I don't know if you know this about me. I'm slightly musical.
I did not know that.
Yeah. See, I can play a little guitar and I can noodle. Like I'm dangerous, but I've never learned how to sing properly. And so when I sing, I know I'm doing damage and I just do it anyway. So, but it's far and few in between these days. So it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to, there's probably not nodules growing right now or anything. So I think I'll be okay for now. So Tom Petty, that's a good choice. Mine's an odd one. Did you ever watch the TV show Friday Night Lights?
I know about it.
Okay. You don't have to know about the TV show to know this. In one of the first seasons, they win a really big football game and the town that they're in throws them like a mini parade. And there's this song by a guy named Tony Luca. And it's called Devil Town. And my wife will not listen to it anymore.
It's like your jam.
It is. It's my personal jam. Like I've got a few, like that's one of them. Another one that like my wife is almost forbade at this point, but you can't get enough of it is Two Princes by the Spin Doctors.
That's a classic.
You can't go wrong with the Spin Doctors.
That's classic.
So, yeah. When they start scatting in the middle there, that was just made for me. So.
Yeah. So ridiculous.
I hope we don't get copyrighted for that because it sounded so much like it. Oh man, I almost made her spit water out of her nose. Sorry about that. That was on me.
It's okay.
All right. So that was the first date round. It's just fun. Get to know you. You learn some things about me. I learned some things about you. We're both bad at costumes. So congratulations on that.
Yeah.
We'll get them next time. All right. So this next round is what we call the slow round. These are a little bit more, heart than just random knowledge, but it's to try to get to know you a little bit better and a little bit further past what anybody could just see and ask normally. So, all right. So here's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. You see posts online. It's like, these are 5 foods you can't get anymore. And it's like Surge and stuff.
Yeah.
But what's something you're nostalgic for?
I am 100% nostalgic for this feeling of presence.
Yeah.
Presentness.
Yeah.
You know, my childhood was that transitional time between like analog and the digital age, you know, and I think back to like when, if I was just sitting here with you, like I wouldn't have a phone in my pocket that was going off and I wouldn't have like the world kind of screaming at me. Yeah. You know, it's like your mind isn't just here. Your mind is in all these different places all over the world all day long. And I really miss that like feeling of like slow, you know, just being fully where I am. I try to take like breaks during the day, but you can't go back in history when that's just how life was, you know? Yeah. So that's my thing for sure.
Yeah. I feel you, like not being able to be present is something. And like, I feel myself getting more and more distracted. Like I notice it in my kids, like they'll sit down to watch a video on YouTube or on one of the streaming things. And about 2 minutes in, they're going to change it to the next video. And it's like, whoa, we were just getting into that. Yeah. And it's so easy to just feel more and more distracted and to need your attention pulled different places.
And it like breeds this kind of anxiety that's underneath things because you're never going to be enough in all those places at one time. And so it's just really interesting.
Yeah, it really is. I totally feel you on, like, if I was going to be really honest, that's kind of my answer too. It's that like to just fully be present in one spot. That's tough. So
yeah, it is these days.
Have you figured it out yet?
No, I'm trying. I mean, I'm trying to like check my, you know, it's hard when your work is tied to social media like mine is. It is tough to like just make yourself put it down for a while, you know? So I'm trying to learn little patterns. Like if I'm posting something, keep the phone by me for like an hour and interact with people. Yeah. But then close the app, go do something else. Or like even just simple things like reading a book. If I'm really busy with work, I find especially like if I'm doing a lot of stuff at one time, I can't even focus on reading a chapter of a book. You know what I mean? Like I have to stop and just reset everything.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. I feel thankful to even be aware of it, you know? So hopefully next time we chat, I will have grown in that area.
I believe in you. You got this. No, it's something that I think we're all working on. There's been times where I'll just notice myself being distracted from my kids or from my family.
For sure.
And so I'm like, that's when for me, it gets too much. Like my kids are at a stage in their life where they're recognizing if my attention is pulled away from them. And so I've done things where I've basically bricked my phone except for phone calls and text messages.
Idea. Yeah.
And like, I don't want to admit it, but it was really tough.
Right.
To be pulled away from that. And so the more and more I do it, like the easier it gets, like the more you practice and do anything, the easier it gets, but it's still tough in the beginning and honestly tough through all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Just trying to regain that focus that you had on what's important. And so it's cool that you're thinking about it and working on it too. So good job.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, shucks. All right. So next question is, what's a piece of advice that you've been given that really made a difference in your life?
So this is I was glad you actually sent me some of these to just think about, because I just opened it real quick around lunchtime. So I have a curveball answer for this one too. The one thing that has made the biggest difference in my life to where I am now actually isn't a piece of advice. It was following an impulse, following the impulse to dive in and write music again. After nearly a decade away. And it was actually against the advice of most of the people who were in my life. But that one thing, like following that tug in my heart toward it. I mean, I was like a different human being at that point in my life. I was so weighed down with like expectations that weren't of my own making and that weren't like what I was made for. You know? Yeah. And I just felt heavier and heavier and heavier. And I started just feeling this, like, it wasn't like a desire. I think it's easy, you know, for people to assume that creativity is fun. And sometimes it is fun. A lot of time performing is fun. Yeah. But when you've spent 9 years away from the road, and you've been playing other people's worship songs every week for 9 years. Yeah. And, you know, everything in you has been this way. I'd been borderline disassociated from my creative self for a long, long, long time. Yeah. So it was against all of the advice that I finally sat down at the piano in 2018. And it was kind of like I shook my fists at God, I guess. I was like, fine, I'm going to sit down and do it. And I sat down, and that was the beginning to where I am now. Yeah. And I'm spiritually healthier. I'm emotionally healthier. I'm a better mom. I'm more alive and awake. And so that would be my kind of weird, not really an answer to that. But, you know, the core question there is, what's made the biggest difference? Yeah. You know, and it was like following my design into what I'm made to do. And because I'm doing that now, my whole world is different. Yeah. So that's been really, really huge. Yeah, I can see, like, from anybody else's outsider perspective, like wanting to veer you away from a non-safe path. Yes, like exactly. Being creative and going out on your own is a not safe path. And so I don't discredit your friends or family or whoever was giving you advice to not pursue it. They loved me, but they didn't know what was on the other side. You know, they loved who they thought that I was too. And that wasn't accurate, because I hadn't been sharing all of who I was for years. So it's kind of wild. Yeah. Sometimes, like, we've got these dreams and hopes and ambitions. And honestly, that's kind of what started this whole thing. Was I had and have this dream to write a book that helps people the way that some books in my life have helped me. And so I started down this path, and I started writing, and then I kind of got to a point where I didn't know what to do next. And so the title of the book is going to be Maybe You're Like Me. And so I started thinking, like, there's people out there that are having
they've got dreams, they've got hopes, they've got so much inside them that they want to take that next step. They want to do that thing, and they stop them just because of the voices in their own head or the external voices. And so there's so much to having those conversations with people that get it and that are in it for you.
Absolutely.
And so, I think it's fun that even though it wasn't the easy step, it's the next step that you took. And so taking those next steps isn't always easy.
No, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's super fun though.
And it's terrifying and exhilarating and expensive if you're a musician.
Absolutely.
And or any creative person.
Yeah.
But that, and and then along the way, like people met me kind of along the way once I started doing the big scary things all the time, you know, and I had a co-writer who would say, there's no wrong answer. You're a good writer. Why are you editing while you're writing? That kind of stuff, you know? And I realized, oh my gosh, I've programmed myself to be so self-critical that I can't finish something because I'm trying to fix it while I'm making it. You can't do that. You have to make something and then take a step back, you know? Yeah. So it's been a really cool journey. And that's 100% tied to my humanity. And I'm so thankful. So thankful for that. Yeah.
It's fun that once you start taking the steps, the people and the things that come into your life. And it's just from taking those initial steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely. If I hadn't sat down at the piano, however many years ago, almost 4 years ago now, I wouldn't be spending a week at Americana Fest next week, playing shows with some of the most awesome artists that there are. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just all that journey, and you're never not terrified. Like there's never, you might have a week or two of coasting, right? Where you feel like you kind of know what's going on, but then boom, an opportunity comes. And usually when an opportunity comes, it also equals a lot of work and doing stuff you've never done before in front of a bunch of people. Yeah. And that's just part of growth.
Okay. So so scary things and there's big things that happen. Just wondering, there's been a few things that I've done in this podcast journey and all this stuff where I thought that it was going to be the scariest thing. And then when it came down to it, it wasn't bad at all.
Totally fine.
Yeah. Have you had any of those?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Quite often I feel like there's some famous quote about that. It's like the thing you're scared of is really not half as bad as the actual experience of
Seriously.
The thing. You build it up in your mind.
Oh man. Sometimes the dumb, scariest things that I've done have just been sending emails to people and I'll send an email. I'm like, oh man, but I've built up in my head to be this mountain when it was just hitting send.
Right.
And the other person on the other side of it, it's a Tuesday to them. They don't care. It's not earth shattering for them at all. And I've just realized that literally the worst thing people can do is say no.
Absolutely.
Or that in my brain, I've got it. The worst thing they can do is say no. The medium thing they can do is not respond. And then the best thing that can happen is they say yes. Or sometimes even the no is probably a great yes. So it's just a lot of fun, because you get on the other side of it and you're like, that wasn't that bad. Yeah,
that wasn't that bad. And then it's on to the next. And if you keep being open to saying yes to things, you keep being overwhelmed, but you grow, you grow proportionally every single time. And I think that's such a gift.
Even funny things like asking people to be on the podcast. I was like, I'm going to send this lady a message on Facebook. I hope she says yes. And thankfully you did. Thank you for being here again.
I was excited to do something at home. I haven't gotten to do that many things here at home, really. That's not like a diss on anyone here in Lakeland. It's just it's fun to be, doing something that's based here in my community.
Yeah. For everybody listening, not watching, we are not in her home right now. No. I don't know if that matters at all.
I don't even know why I said that.
Home means Lakeland.
Home means Lakeland.
Yeah, no. Okay. Just
to clarify.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing and in this slow round here, and it's this, you are in a creative work, you're doing creative things, you're writing, you're producing, you're doing so many things. What's keeping you creative? What's keeping you writing?
The act of doing it. Yeah. Kind of, it's a sort of a self-sustaining cycle. Yeah. And community. I have been really blessed since, the beginning of this solo artist journey for me when I didn't know anybody. Yeah. And didn't know what I was doing and all of that. Everything was overwhelming and everything was scary, to now where I have friends all over the world and all over the country that are all making art, and they're like, it's their job and they're dedicated to it. And lots of people have side hustles. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, it's expensive to be a creative person. So you got to eat somehow. But I know people who are just in it, and we bounce ideas off of each other. And then just also the discipline of, you know, not letting a day I don't feel like picking up a guitar mean I don't do something creative. I do something creative every day.
That's awesome.
You know, and it doesn't have to necessarily be for all day.
Yeah.
Just do something to awaken that part of myself.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like a bodybuilder. I obviously have the physique of said bodybuilder, but it's one of those things that you just got to get out and do it. The more you actually put in the work, the better things are. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if I have, like, I catch myself sometimes, whether it's something that's going to be hard or something that I'm scared to do. Like too often I talk myself out of doing the thing. Yeah. And I'm just like, just knowing that I've got people behind me. I've got deadlines coming.
Deadlines are super helpful for productivity. They really are. It's true.
Are you a procrastinator?
No, I am an obsessive preparer.
Okay.
So if I have a deadline, I'm like in it from, you could ask this another thing, you ask my husband and he'll be like, oh my gosh. She'll start practicing like 4 months in advance for, you know, because part of that's because I'm a violinist, but like that's my,
is that your safe
space? It's my trauma. It's my curse. It's my gift.
All right. So this is similar, but not the same. If you were going on a trip, how many days before the trip do you start packing? If you're a preparer.
I'm not a preparer for that.
Okay. We're at least similar on that. It's like 30 minutes before we're leaving. My wife's like, babe, you have not packed yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm usually like a night before a trip, stay up later than I should. And Absolutely. Then I still underpack usually. And Jack's like, you had so much time. But then if it's music or if it's like something like preparing for a recording session, it's like I'm obsessing. Like I'm like, there's no way it's all going to get done. And it's 6 months away. Like that's me.
That's probably better than my approach to it. My approach is if you wait to the last minute, it only takes a minute to do. And so I am chronically the person that like, I will stay up till, when I was in college, I would pull all-nighters the night before. They like, if a teacher ever said you can't do this term paper in one night, that was like my awakening. Let's go.
You're and like, so, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And that's the night where I would just put on Two Princes by the Spin Doctor on repeat. And I would tell myself, if you finish this project, you can turn Two Princes by the Spin Doctors off and go to bed. But I would just keep it on repeat and keep going until I got it done. So I love a good deadline right at the end of it. So,
you know, I will say as a caveat to what I already said is that every once in a while I'll get like a curveball in a high pressure situation.
Ooh.
Like for instance, a few weeks ago, I was booked to play like a broadcast style performance with a full band. I don't play with a full band that often. But I do have my go-to people, you know, and my drummer got injured pretty bad.
Oh, no.
He's okay now.
Oh, good.
But at the time he was like out of commission.
Okay.
It wasn't going to happen. And it was just a couple days before. And a broadcast performance, like you can't edit. You don't go back. Like there's only one.
Yeah. You get a take.
You know, and it's an hour-long full band set.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was like 4 days before the show.
Oh, no.
And I'm an over-preparer.
Ruh-roh.
So I was not in a great place. And thankfully, I texted a friend of mine, the only person that I knew that would be able to pull that off on one practice. And he came and we had one practice here at Johnson Sound on Cumbie Road.
Okay. Yeah.
And pulled off that show. And I will say that every once in a while, when something like that happens, it ends up being better than you would have imagined it. You know, if it had all gone to plan, because there was like a spontaneousness to that performance.
Yeah.
Simply because two of the people that played with me had never played with me live before.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
just asking. And I need you to be gut level honest with me.
Yeah.
Did the drummer accidentally play one of the songs 3 times too fast? And did this really happen? Or are you trying to tell me that you're living the life of That Thing You Do?
Wait,
the movie.
Have
you ever seen the movie That Thing You Do?
I have, but it's been so long.
Oh, in the very beginning, the drummer falls and breaks his arm. And so they get a new drummer.
Oh, I remember that now.
That sets the whole thing off.
Happened.
I am so sorry, everyone listening. That was a spoiler alert for That Thing You Do. I think it came out 20 years ago. So
it was a good movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Isn't Tom Hanks the manager in that movie?
He sure is. So
there's a reason to watch it right there.
His name is Mr. White. That is one of my.
So yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Reed busted his arm. My other friend had to come through, and thankfully he was in the country. He travels for work a lot. So
saved the day. That's fantastic.
Totally did.
And that it's also fun having friends in the biz. Mm-hmm. All right. So while we're talking about performing, I've been I didn't add this to the questions. I wanted to in hindsight, but I'm just going to ask now because I can.
Sure.
Do you have any just fantastically embarrassing stage moments?
Oh, I'm sure I have a ton of those. I mean, anytime when no one shows up, that's embarrassing.
Oh, it's just a good practice session then.
It's good practice. Good practice. Thankfully, that doesn't happen as much as it used to. There was one time actually on that topic back in my indie rock days, I had talked all my bandmates. I used to say yes to absolutely everything.
Sure.
But it was out of desperation. You know, it was if we play everywhere all the time, something great's going to happen.
Sure.
And that was not the strategy. So I said yes to this show at a bowling alley, which could have been cool.
Absolutely. I'm already in.
It
whatever
wasn't,
this story. Okay.
And it was on our guitar player's birthday.
Oh, no.
And he was missing out on his free birthday steak at the
Texas Cattle Company.
Yeah. And so we get there and we load in, and they had canceled the show and no one ever told us.
No.
So we played to an empty room. I think my husband was there.
You know, it was just you serenading your husband. That's very sweet.
Adam was so bummed because we didn't even load out in time for him to get back up here to get his free steak.
Oh, no.
He's vegan now, though.
You know what? Maybe that was a turning point in his life.
That was really embarrassing. Really demoralizing.
Oh, man. But you made it through. You kept pushing on, and here we are now. Yeah. So. All right. This is a question we're asking everybody on the podcast. Okay. And for me, it's been a lot of fun just learning and hearing what people, what their responses are to this.
Okay.
But what are you learning right now? And it could be a skill or a deep life lesson. What do you got?
Well, I'm an Enneagram 4, so most of it's going to be deep life stuff.
Please bring the heat.
I have been learning to trust my instincts.
Okay.
That's been the big theme in my life, I'd say, for the last year or so.
Okay.
Because I feel like I used to lean a lot on advice from other people because I couldn't necessarily pinpoint the voice inside, and what it really wanted to do. And I didn't know if I could trust myself yet. Yeah. But over the last year, and again, with me, everybody's different with their work and with their family life. But for me, it's all just so intertwined, who I am creatively really is completely entangled with who I am all around. That's just how I'm made.
Yeah.
And so learning to trust my instincts on things like what performances to say yes to. And I started producing work for other people before I ever produced any for myself that's out there. I co-produced my last album, but I was definitely not, 100% the captain of that ship. Mm-hmm. And so last fall, there's the artist that I was just telling you before we started taping, her full record comes out November 4th, and her mother texted me, I believe, and asked me if I would produce an album for her. I had met them a few months prior at a festival, and I said, well, she knew I'd been thinking about starting my own studio at home because the pandemic, I had a writing room that I used to go to. I'd never really spent the time or the money to kind of gather a nice setup at home, not a fancy big setup, but just a clean, streamlined way I could record at home.
Yeah.
I just hadn't had the resources financially or the time, to do it. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And we all had lots of time.
It happens.
Lots of time. And so I, kind of created that space in the house, but I hadn't bought my gear even yet. And this wonderful woman named Amy texted me and said, hey, I would love it if you would produce an album for Liv. And I said, that would be great. How about next year? And she said, well, here's the thing. Here's when she graduates, and it needs to happen in January if it's going to happen.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this is like November.
Wow.
I don't even know if I can get the interface that I was trying to order back then. So I literally, but I knew I could do it. Like I've been in and out of studios since I was 6 years old. That was my first time in the recording studio. Like I've engineered, I've set up, I've arranged, I've done all of the things. It's just never had my name on it. I've never been like the responsible person. You know? So this was like ripping the training wheels off, but also I'm blindfolded, right? You know, because like we're just careening forward. I don't know what's going to happen. And I literally had gear coming in. Like she gets to her Airbnb and I was waiting on like one last thing to be delivered.
Oh man.
In January. But all that being said, as nerve wracking as that was to like get her in and get the session set up and like go through that process, I like kind of realized how easy it was for me to create in that way.
Yeah.
While I was making it for her. I was like you were saying, I was like, this is not scary. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I can totally do this.
Yeah.
And that's been sort of like learning to lean more into that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I can totally do this. I can trust what my gut is telling me.
Yeah.
You know, and conversely, like what my gut is saying, say no to.
Yeah. I
should listen to that too.
Yeah.
You know, so that's been the big thing that I'm working on.
Yeah. I think in life, figuring out which voices are worth listening to is super important.
Yeah.
Like the contents of your closest people can make or break you. And
absolutely.
And at the same time, like listening to the voice, your Jiminy Cricket, you know, trying to figure out what is the right path to take. And there's no guarantee you're always going to make the right choice.
Right.
And so it's scary and everything in the middle. But if you can continue to just try to take the right next step forward and listen to the right voices, that's where you get it. Having people
that genuinely love you around you. You don't need a lot of them. Just a couple people that really like see you as you actually are.
Yeah.
And love that person.
Yeah.
Usually that and your instincts are going to be at least pretty close.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and yeah, I've been learning that a lot. I mean, even on the session I just wrapped this morning, there was a moment where I was like, OMG, I have a lot of ideas happening here. I really hope this works. And then last night I got done with the rough mix and I was like, phew, it totally
worked. So this is a story just based off of that one thing. I heard a story about, it was Michael Jackson recording, I want to say Bad. Have you heard this story before? Just based off
Which one? Is that that's not the one where Eddie Van Halen walked in and played the guitar solo. That's, we're terrible pop music history people.
Here's the deal.
Now.
Back to the whole like needing your phone thing. When I watch a movie or a TV show, I'm immediately on IMDb trying to figure out who's who.
Yeah.
So like I've got a bunch of pop culture in my brain, but I can never remember. Okay, but back to this Michael Jackson story.
So this is Bad.
Bad or Thriller or something like that.
Yeah.
They recorded it and like, they're like, this isn't right. And they recorded it again and they recorded it 2 or 3 times. And then, so for those of you who aren't into music stuff, they mixed it. And so then they did, I think it was 99 mixes of it.
That does not surprise me.
And so they did 99 mixes of Thriller or Bad or something. And I think it was Quincy Jones or some other like legendary producer walked in and was like, play me the third one. And they went with the third one.
Yep.
And so they had done all that work, like overthinking it and rethinking it when they could have just like stuck with like what they had done originally and like stuck with what they knew.
Absolutely. That is so true.
And for all you music historians out there who are listening and you're like, Mike, you're an idiot. That's completely wrong. It was Billie Jean. I don't know. Don't sue me. So, but yeah, sticking to your gut and listening to the right voices can really make a difference. And
it does
probably save you a ton of time sometimes too.
Oh, for sure.
96 more takes of mixes of a song.
Yes.
All right. So we are at my favorite part of the podcast, and I hope it's your favorite part as well. This is, I call it the common ground round, where I try to figure out if maybe you and I are alike.
Okay.
So we're more than 10 episodes into this, and so far no one's gotten these the same as me. So these are a couple of this or that questions.
Like high stakes now.
You should feel a lot of pressure. I expect you to cry at some point. Just
wait,
kidding.
Are we both left-handed?
I am not.
Oh,
I was just grabbing the pen.
I almost got really excited. But
are you a lefty? I'll look at you, Southpaw. I am.
Explains a lot.
I kind of wonder if I should have been left-handed, just because so number one, people listening can't see this. This is how I hold my pen, which is just like a lefty, a lot of lefties. And I do the whole inward curve thing. Yeah. So there's some times where I wonder if
this teacher wasn't putting it in your other hand.
I don't know. Left brain, right brain business.
Yeah.
And when I first started learning how to play the guitar, actually I learned on bass first, but I wanted to hold it like a lefty. So me and Paul McCartney, but who knows? So all the same, I've got horrible handwriting. And so this is going to be tough for both of us. So,
great.
All right. So these are a couple of this or that questions. I'll ask you, we'll write them down and reveal them at the same time.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I'm so excited.
You should be. All right. Would you rather surf Instagram or TikTok? This one's actually really tough for me because I love them both. And I'm just going to go with my heart. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What you got? You went Instagram. I went TikTok. So you love the IG?
I mean, by comparison.
Again, we talked about this earlier. I get so lost, and people are so funny on the internet.
But I need to get back. I need to get back on it.
You don't. Like, or for the sake of your
ever.
life, you don't. Because it will just devour all of your time. All right. You seem like a semi-healthy person. And so this is just for fun.
Okay.
Would you rather have a smoothie or a milkshake? I forgot some letters. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. You went smoothie. I went milkshake.
You knew I was going to say smoothie.
I had no idea.
You've known me for an hour and you knew it was not going to be milkshake.
All right. So so you went smoothie. What's your go-to smoothie?
We like to make them at home.
Okay.
Like, so that's such a hippie granola thing we like to make our smoothies at home.
I also like to make it at home. My wife on a whim bought a magic bullet.
Those things are amazing.
6 or 8 months ago. And I was like, and it was like supposed to be a gift for me. And I was like, babe, why did you do that? Like, I don't want a magic bullet.
Yeah.
This is dumb. And like now, like 2 times a week, I'm making a smoothie.
Yeah. We love it. I'll throw like some kombucha in there sometimes too, and like make it a little bubbly.
Okay. Miss Fancy.
Yeah. You know.
All right. So what's your dream smoothie?
Some berries.
Okay.
Some like hippie trippy almond yogurt.
Okay.
Some collagen powder because that makes it really creamy.
Okay.
And a splash of kombucha and a splash of juice. Any kind of juice, whatever's in the fridge.
Okay. I'm somewhat similar. I will go berries, sometimes spinach if I'm feeling healthy.
Spinach is good in a smoothie.
Throw some fiber in there. And then recently we started putting yogurt in ours.
Love that.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a little bit of yogurt. And then I usually go orange juice. That's where I stick at.
That's a solid choice.
Yeah. So, and I'll throw a banana in there because why not? Life's short. All right. So, we are not doing great here so far.
We're not.
Hopefully,
maybe you're not like me.
Listen, here's what I like to say. We both do enjoy smoothies, but if I get my choice, I'm going milkshake. Will I regret it later? Yes. Am I going to do it anyway? Yes. I went through a kick. It's been a couple summers ago when we got like 3 or 4 times a week a strawberry milkshake, and it definitely hurt my waistline. It definitely hurt our plumbing, everything. It was horrible.
Yeah. Was it did you guys do the Parksdale?
Parksdale's good. I actually,
what's your favorite?
And this is going to be like a curveball for a lot of people. I really enjoy PDQ's strawberry milkshake. I don't know what they do or how they do it, and they have those like really thick straws. So
they do have those fat straws.
Yeah. And fat is probably a good word in this situation.
Real sturdy, large straws.
Chonky, I believe is a good word for it.
Yeah.
But man, I drank so many milkshakes that summer. I kind of had to like swear it off for a little bit, but recently my kids have been like on they want milkshake kicks, and you know what? I oblige. So
my kids can never hear that you said that.
If your kids are listening, fast forward, please. All right. So, all right, let's figure this out. All right. So you are at home, Tuesday night, and you're just around the house. Are you going socks or barefoot?
Barefoot all the way.
Well, we're not going to have to write that one down.
I forgot. Whoops.
All right. Yeah, I am usually, let's say I would go barefoot too.
Yeah. So. Unless it's cold though.
Okay. We do live in Florida though. So that is about 3 nights out of the year here. So
if I'm on tour, I take those Smart Wool hiking socks with me. And those are like my slippers.
Are those the ones with the toes on them?
No,
are those toe socks?
Those are terrifying to me.
Like, I was really hoping you had toe socks.
I know people, but they're not my friends.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
We're going to write these down this time.
I'm an outlaw.
Yeah, I'm watching.
And I've only broken one rule so far.
You've done so good. Everybody's proud of you.
Well, no, I actually didn't answer a question. I just made up my own thing.
Yeah, well, you know, you're 2 strikes in right now. We've only got 2 more questions to go, but you need to, you are towing a thin line, man. All right, here we go. Mode of transportation. Are you going car or truck?
Ooh. Okay.
All right. Oh man, I saw your answer beforehand. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I wrote car. She wrote truck. What is happening right now? All right. Explain yourself. Where are you going truck?
Because I think I drove the Sequoia here. Maybe that's why.
Okay.
Actually, my favorite car I've ever had was a Jeep Wagoneer.
Okay.
Like a 1980 with the wood on the sides. And I've always just liked trucks.
Okay.
Like old trucks.
I enjoy a truck. I don't enjoy the responsibility that comes along with them.
True.
I don't want to be that guy.
People always need you.
It's true.
And you don't want to be needed that way.
You know what? But maybe narcissistically, I do want to be needed that way. I'm not sure. So I might change my answer, but I do. Here's my requirements for a car. It has to have an engine that works, AC, because we live in Florida, and Bluetooth. That's like, I'm pretty easygoing as far as vehicles go. So as long as it runs, it has air conditioning and I can listen to my music, I'm pretty set to go.
We got our first minivan this year.
Ah, how are you enjoying it?
Oh my gosh. I don't know how we lived.
Are you loving it?
It's good for everything in my life.
Yes. I'm sorry, everybody listening. I just clapped really loud into the microphone.
I mean, it's good for playing shows.
Yeah.
It's good for carrying kids around.
Yep.
Like the speakers are nice in there.
Sure.
Like the Bluetooth works great.
That's all you need.
My back doesn't hurt after a road trip anymore. It's amazing.
So we had a minivan for a few years with our kids, and I love our minivan. I loved our minivan. We recently switched over to an SUV, and like I had like a quick season of mourning.
Yeah.
It's more my wife's day-to-day vehicle, and so we wanted her to have what she wanted to have. But I love, like, I learned how to drive in a minivan.
Really?
Yeah. So growing up, my parents had a, I think it was almost as old as me minivan. And it, by the time I was driving, that's what I learned to drive on.
Yeah.
And this is like the anti-car for me now. Like the AC didn't work. At some certain points, the windshield wipers didn't work. There was just like, it was
in Florida. That seems so dangerous.
Driving down the main road in our town with like my head out the window when it was raining. It was horrible. But man, I loved that car.
Yeah, that's amazing.
All right, we got one more.
Okay.
We've only got 1 out of 4 so far. But we're doing good. We're doing so like
we're having a good time.
I'm having a great time. I feel like we're really connecting outside of not connecting at all. All right. Are you ready for the last one here?
Okay.
You seem like your musical genre is Orange Blossom country. Yeah. So this is outside of that range completely. If given the chance to listen to music or perform music, let's just open it up to the world here. Would you rather play rock or hip hop?
Rock.
All right. We're gonna
I broke the rules again.
Well, this is the end of the episode, Rachel. It was a pleasure having you on. How dare you? But if it means anything, I was going to say the same thing. I love rock music.
Me too.
That's gone forever. I love some rock and roll. Just put another dime in the jukebox, baby. Yeah. So, excellent. Okay. So we were 2 out of 5. I don't feel horrible about that.
It wasn't the worst.
No, we weren't. And, we had a good time doing it. Okay. So we're at the end here, and there's people that probably today was the first time they're getting to hear from you in a completely nonsensical, non-musical situation.
Love it.
And so if somebody wanted to follow along with you to find out more about your music, to find out about you, where's the best place for them to get to know you a little better?
So my handle is Van Platting.
Okay.
On all the social medias. So find me on Instagram, Van Platting. Facebook,
it is 1 T, not 2.
1 T.
So it's VANPLATING.
Yep. So. And on Twitter.
Okay.
So
get those spicy tweets.
Get the spicy tweets. It's a fun time over there. I got some wacky friends on Twitter. They are wild.
I've never been a big Twitter guy, but you'd be surprised. Like there's that music is on Twitter. Like musicians, artists everybody's on Twitter. There you go.
It's like a Slack for musicians, pretty much. That's our Slack thread.
Sounds good. I'm going to dial up at Bono and see if we can't hang out sometime.
You should.
We'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. And for everyone listening, thank you for listening this week. We can't wait to see you next week when we have Taylor Swift. I don't know. Just need to.
Maybe.
Taylor, if you're out there.
She just dropped a new record.
Yeah, dropping midnight on all of us. So
thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.